Tức là trước nhất là Trang muốn xin hỏi để mà cho mọi người cho mình phản hồi để xem là cái lớp mình đã học đến nay đã được 2 tháng rồi, thì mọi người thấy cái lớp nó có gì hữu ích hay không, và có cần phải thay đổi cái hình thức hay là nội dung như thế nào hay không. Thì xin cho ban tổ chức biết, là tại vì thật sự là mình rất muốn cái lớp này nó lợi lạc cho mọi người. Thành ra là nếu mà các anh các chị đã vào Zoom rồi thì xin cho biết ý kiến và có thể text lên trên trên chat để mà mình có thể mà dùng những cái đó để mình có thể cải tiến nếu mà cần phải cải tiến để cho mọi người được lợi lạc trong cái thời gian này. Cái điều kế tiếp mà Trang muốn thưa với mọi người đó là trong cái lớp này, thầy Tsondue với Trang đang có một cái ý định là trong cái thời gian học tập thì là mình sẽ 1 tiếng hoặc là 1 tiếng hơn. Nhiều khi thầy đang giảng dở thì mình để cho thầy giảng tiếp, nhưng mà sẽ có đôi khi mình sẽ có thêm những cái thực tập, riêng. Thí dụ như là có thể mình thực hành cúng khói, hoặc là mình thực hành nghi quỹ, một số nghi quỹ để tạo được công đức. Thì những cái nghi quỹ đó, những cái chương trình đó thì là Trang sẽ thông báo trước, để cho mọi người có thể chuẩn bị thời gian. Thì mình cỡ chừng khoảng nửa tiếng đồng hồ thôi. Thì cách thức mình sẽ làm việc là sau khi giảng lớp xong, thì vị nào mà có thể ở lại được để mà tham gia buổi puja hay là nghi quỹ hay là tụng niệm gì đó để mà tạo thêm công đức, thì là mình có thể ở lại rồi thầy sẽ thực hành những cái nghi quỹ đó. Đó là một trong những cái điều mà mình có thể là vừa vừa học mà cũng có thể đem thực hành và có thể tạo công đức cùng lúc. Dạ. Rồi kế tiếp nữa thì có một cái tin vui. Thầy Giao Tinh, thầy Giao Tinh sẽ có hứa là sẽ tháng 9, đầu tháng 9 sẽ giảng Đại Thủ Ấn cấp 3 cho những bạn mà đã theo từ lâu nay học với thầy. Thì một trong những cái điều kiện để mà được học cái lớp Đại Thủ Ấn cấp 3 này là mình cần phải tụng 100.000 chú quy y. Thì cái này là cho những vị mà đã từng theo theo học 3 năm nay thì là cái điều đó là Trang nghĩ là mọi người có thể đã đều làm xong rồi. Cộng thêm đó là thầy muốn mình tụng thêm 10.000 chú trăm âm của mẹ Tara. Dạ, cái điều này là cái 10.000 chú trăm âm của mẹ Tara thì một số vị cũng đã xong rồi, Trang nghĩ như vậy. Còn một số thì có thể là mới chưa có làm xong. Thì trong cái vòng mà 2 tháng thì có thể là thời gian cũng cần phải cũng phải tụng hơi nhiều. Thành ra là Trang sẽ xin phép thầy để mà cho mọi người là ít nhất cũng phải tụng được 5.000 biến chú trăm âm Tara. Rồi những cái 5.000 còn lại thì sẽ cho khất. Khất tí là miễn là hứa nguyện là sẽ làm cho đủ 10.000 thì là mình đủ để mà mình có thể theo cái lớp Đại Thủ Ấn cấp 3 này nha. Dạ, xin phép cho Trang để mà Trang nói tiếng Anh để cho có một số bạn người Anh cần phải nói tiếng Anh nhé. Dạ. Thanks everyone for joining. Sorry, I just have some announcement I just wanted to make while we were waiting for the rest of the group to join. But a couple of things. So first of all, we are seeking for feedback. Everyone, we have started this liberation in the palm of your hand for the last 2 months now. So we're looking for feedback from everyone to see if there's any improvement that can be made, if there are any changes we can make to make things better for you. And also, if you find that they are beneficial or not, you can drop us a line and just go ahead and post on the text on the chat. And we would appreciate your help with giving us feedback. One of the things that Tsondue and I talked about in making some minor changes is that during the teaching session, there still will be a 1 hour plus teaching, but occasionally we will have additional prayers and or pujas like smoke puja or refuge prayers, so that everyone can create accumulate more merits. And that would be something that we wanted to provide to everyone, but we will announce in advance, a few weeks in advance, hopefully before we start this, so when everyone can clear their schedule and participate. Next item of great news is that when Ken Rinpoche had promised, he's been traveling quite a bit lately, but he has promised that he would teach us beginning in September, Mahamudra level 3. If you've been with us for a while, if you would have recalled that he's done teaching Mahamudra level 2, and now it's time to move up one level to level 3. And the requirement for this Mahamudra level 3 is to finish chanting 100,000 refuge. In addition, there will be 10,000 of the 100-syllable mantra, Tara mantra, that needs to be chanted. And with this, realizing for those of you that have been with us for a while, these are not new requirements. These has always been there. And hopefully some of you have already completed it. But for those of you who are new, I will ask Ken Rinpoche to allow that you may start the class if you finish 5,000 100-syllable mantra, and then the remaining 5,000 will be completed as a promise. So that will be beginning in September. So I just want to make the announcement today so that everyone can start planning for it, right? And I also have some more announcement, but given the time, I will wait until the end of the class, and then we'll do the additional announcements later. Dạ, xin còn một vài điều cũng muốn thưa với lại tất cả mọi người, nhưng mà bây giờ thì chắc là để mình bắt đầu vào lớp đi, rồi sau khi lớp xin mọi người nán lại để mà Trang có một vài cái điều để mà chia sẻ thêm nữa nhé. Dạ, xin cảm ơn với tất cả mọi người. Then should we start now?
Okay, yeah. Then ba dân đề đề sang cái chuyện ta trong cái trong nó chỉ là bao giờ cái này cho cái là cái cho cái xong rồi chứ đó là bên dưới sang cái đồ cái số okay. Yeah, greeting to everyone. Good morning.
Good morning.
It's good morning, right?
You have to say it louder. They might not have heard it.
I say good morning. Yeah.
So then, should I be asking questions from last week's teaching now?
Yeah.
Before you go into the class? Yeah. So the question is, last week you talked about the different paths that one can achieve enlightenment, whether through Sutra or mantra, correct?
Yeah.
Tantra.
Yeah.
Sutra or Tantra.
Yeah.
And with the Sutra method, you need to accumulate 3 eons of merit in order to reach to the point where you go through the whole process so that you can become enlightened. On the other hand, if you follow the tantric path, then this could be done within a lifetime. It could be done complete in, after you retreat for 3 years, 3 months, 3 days, correct?
Yeah.
Okay.
In Sutra, Sutra, yeah, we are the path is pretty long. Yeah, we are talking about accumulation of the merit for three countless eons, whereas in the Vajrayana, we talk about the accumulation of merit in the shortest period of time in this degenerate age. In degenerate age, one could achieve the enlightenment, enlightenment in a single lifetime, and single lifetime. Sometimes we say achievement of enlightenment in a single body and single lifetime. Single body is questionable, really questionable, right? But usually we do say, for example, like the great Milarepa achieved enlightenment in a single body and a single lifetime, right? But then still, attaining enlightenment in a this gross body, enlightenment in a single body is questionable, because in the Vajrayana, this gross body we cannot bring on to the enlightenment, right? We have to finally left behind. We create there's a special body called, as we discussed last time, illusory body. So we create illusory body, and in this illusory body we achieve enlightenment, right? And one of the uniqueness of the Vajrayana practice is, uh, uh, that is coming from the, mainly from the oral tradition, we call ear whispered lineage, right? In this, uh, there's a kind of instruction, and then for example, in the highest yoga tantra, for example, like Yamantaka, Uya Samaja, Chakrasamvara. So one practice all these deities inseparably. Of course, you can practice, one can practice, for example, like Vajra, you can eat Chidamanitara, Yamantaka, Uya Samaja separately. However, if one practice this inseparably, then the path is very short. That makes the difference. Yeah.
Thank you so much, Ren.
Okay.
Yeah. So go ahead with the teaching, and then there might be additional questions.
Okay. Now, we reached the the liberation in the palm of your hand. We reached the page number 10. Right, we reached the page number 10. We continue to read through this. So then, first we read, and then I will explain. Right. Yeah. Here it says, thus the rebirth, human rebirth, is worth more than 1,000 billion precious jewels, right? If you meaninglessly squander means waste, this rebirth that you have managed to obtain, it would be an even greater pity than if you had wasted 1,000 billion precious jewels. There is no greater loss. Nothing could be blinder. No self-deception could be greater. Protector Shantideva said, no self-deception could be worse after gaining such a chance than not cultivating virtue. Nothing could be blinder. Okay. Okay. You must therefore try to extract essence from it now. If you don't, you are sure to die anyway, and you cannot know when that will happen. So up to here, I will now explain. So, first, it says, after attaining the, this precious hummingbird, we should not, we should not waste it, we should not waste this. If we waste it, then there could be no blinder, then there is no greater self-deception than this, wasting one's, very precious human birth, So, so in order to understand this, passage, in order to understand this passage in much deeper way, to understand this in much deeper way, first of all, we should have some idea. We should have really, very, very good understanding, and very good understanding in the nature of the, nature of the freedoms and endowments. So this is extremely important, because the great, the great Gombawa Kadamba master, he was a Kadamba master, he said that, if we don't lay any, proper foundation in this fundamental teachings, then even if you try to, try to touch on the upper, teachings, it is really, it won't be that, stable and effective. Similarly, the great, the great, the Domdamba, the Kadamba master Domdamba, who was the Atisha student, right? Domdamba said to, Chengawa, Chengawa was another Kadamba master, he said, "Oh, Chengawa, be careful. If you focus too much, you get sick." So then Chengawa responded to his teacher, Domdamba, "If I think about the, freedoms and endowments, I don't like to sleep. I don't want to spend my time on sleeping." So like this, indicates the, the preciousness and the highly importance of the, the freedoms and endowments, right? So therefore, we need to really develop a very, foundational and very strong understanding, in-depth understanding, what really, is the freedom and endowments. When we talk about the freedom and endowments, right? Freedom and endowments, we are talking about the lumbering stages of the path to enlightenment, stages of the path to enlightenment. In the stages of the path to enlightenment, when we talk about the, when we talk about the freedoms and endowments, right? So it becomes very important, extremely important to understand in the deepest, way, right? So in this freedom and endowments, we have three titles. In these three titles, all the teachings belonging to the preciousness of the, human rebirth is included, right? Now, if I provide, what are the three titles, so these three titles are extremely important. So these three titles, we don't forget, it also help us to, remind again and again, it also help us to visualize, so far, I talked briefly about this, freedom and endowments in earlier classes, but here I will present in more deeper way, right? More deeper way. So it gives some idea, Then the first title is the preciousness, the preciousness of the what we call the high valuable of the, human birth, the high valuable of the human birth. Number one. Now, this is the first title. The second title is the identification of the freedoms and endowments. We have 8 freedoms and 10 endowments. This is number 2 title. Number 3 title is, the rarity, the high rarity, the rarity and the difficulty of obtaining such a birth, such a rebirth, such a human birth, which is complete with all the freedom and all the endowments, right? So first, we try to, ascertain, we try to know what are these titles, So these are the 3 titles, titles upon on which, based on this, then we try to explain everything, right? So in fact, so I will first talk about the first title, right? First title, because even even if you look into the, titles, even if you look into the titles, the first title is what? The first title is the high valuable of the freedom and endowments. So this is the first title, and then in a way, these are arranged, one after the another. So we need to understand why, uh, uh, why the understanding the high valuable of the human birth come first, identification come later, and then the third, the rarity comes to the third. Even if you look, it really gives a very deep understanding, very deep understanding. So that's why sometimes we talk about we need to practice. Of course we do need to study, we do need to contemplate, we do need to practice. But then of course we are all studying, but then the correct way of studying, the very correct way of studying, which finally helps you develop a deep conviction in the teaching. And then also when we talk about the contemplation of the meaning of the text, meaning of any point spiritual path, we need to contemplate it in the right way. And also in the meditate, when we do engage in meditation, we also know how to do in a meditation in the right way, right way. So this also makes a huge difference in developing and cultivating the conviction, deep conviction, right? Now, in the first case, in the first title, it says the high valuable of the human rebirth, right? Now, when we talk about the high valuable, the great purpose, the very great purpose that this human birth can bring, it can fulfill the temporary purpose and also as well as the ultimate purpose, right? Ultimate purpose. Now we say, yeah, it can bring the temporary purpose. Yes. It can bring the ultimate purpose. Yes. In what ways? So these two, understanding these two are extremely important, right? Now it helps, by reflection, by understanding and by reflection on the, that this kind of birth, this kind of birth helps to achieve the temporary purpose. Why? So I use the reason why, because once you use the reason why, then we find the solution. Based on the solution, then we develop the conviction. So this is how we talk about the analytical meditation. This is pure analytical meditation. So then, yes, this human birth that we have, that we all have, this precious human birth that we all have, is ideal, is very ideal and conducive to achieve the temporary purpose. Again, temporary purpose. Why? Because this human birth that we have, the kind of human birth that we have, has all the freedom from the obstacles to practice dharma, and complete with all the favorable conditions to practice dharma. That is the result. So so these two, understanding these two are very important. And then based on this understanding, then what kind of conviction we develop? What kind of conviction? Because I reflect on this, sometimes, oh yeah, I do reflect, but I don't feel connected. Why? Because one has not, gone deep. One has not gone deep. Either in a different way, one meditate in a different way. So therefore, this I have the human birth, it really serves a great purpose in fulfilling temporary purpose and as well as the ultimate purpose. because I have all the, I have all the freedom. I have all the freedom which is free from the obstacles, free from the obstacles to free from the obstacles to achieve the temporary purpose. I have also the freedom which is free from the obstacles, and has all the conditions to fulfill the ultimate purpose. So with this, then we develop the kind of conviction. That what kind of conviction we develop is, now finally I have to practice dharma. This conviction should develop. This conviction should develop as a result of contemplating, reflecting on the preciousness, high, valuable, the purpose of the purpose of achieving the temporary and ultimate purpose of this on this human birth, right? Then we say, if it, we, as I said, if then we come to understand that I have to practice dharma, then the second question comes, why I have to practice dharma? If that really is the case, if going through this contemplation, if I develop the kind of strong urge, the strong wish that I need to practice dharma, that I have to practice dharma, right? And then why I have to practice dharma, right? Now I have to practice dharma because I want happiness. I do not want suffering. So that is the, we all have innate, we all have the innate, kinds of aspiration to feel happy and to get rid of suffering. So this, even the animals and everyone have this kind of urge, right? So, so that's what we call as the skillful way in accomplishing the happiness and to get rid of suffering, right? Now, because we want happiness and do not want suffering. So therefore, we need to practice dharma, because fulfilling the happiness and dispelling the suffering, overcoming the suffering, getting rid of suffering is all done by relying on spiritual practice, by relying on the study of the dharma, by relying on the contemplation of the dharma, by relying on the meditation of the dharma. So in this way, we really come to understand that I have to practice dharma, right? So in this is the first title. So I'm trying to explain purely account from the practical side, a practical side. So this is, so sometimes we say sometimes we say, how do I meditate on the preciousness of the human birth? How do I meditate on the how do I meditate on the freedom and endowments, right? So sometimes we we think that when we talk about meditation, we use some kind of object and then meditate on this, So no, it's a no need, here the meditation that we are doing here is mostly analytical meditation, because analytical meditation, if we have trained well in the past, we don't need to do this kind of meditation. If we have well trained in the past, over many past lifetimes, definitely there is no need. If we are not well trained, this kind of analytical meditation is necessary. There's no choice, because we need to develop the conviction, right? Conviction, deep conviction, because then deep conviction motivate you to practice dharma, motivate you to study dharma, motivate you to contemplate on the Dharma, right? So, because it is the fact that we need to develop the conviction in the Dharma, right? In the Dharma, it becomes very important to do the analytical meditation, that one that we discuss right now, right? Right now, right? This body really helps to accomplish the temporary purpose. How my body, this human body, helps to achieve the temporary purpose. Yes, it helps to achieve the temporary purpose, right? Now, what is the temporary purpose? Do we need the wealth? Yeah, needless to say, no need to say, we need wealth, we need resources. If we don't have resources, if we don't have resources, how do we practice Dharma? How do we end up begging the street? So therefore, we need resources. But if we do need the resources, how are we going to obtain it? How are we going to get it? Resources, right? So the main condition for accomplishing the resources is creating the cause which helps you to gain the resources later on. So that is now the first is the practice of giving. The practice of giving involves, right? So in order to practice the giving, you need the human body. Animals cannot do the act of kindness. Animals cannot do the practice giving. How can they do? The hell beings cannot do. The celestial beings cannot do the practice of giving, right? Even though human beings in other continent, they cannot do much. Only the human beings of this continent, Jambudeva, can do in a very powerful way. So therefore, because we need resources, we need to practice giving. To practice giving, you need a human body, this human body, right? And then, do we need a healthy long life? No, needless to say, we all have, we need a healthy long life, right? We need a, prosperous life. We need a healthy, not only the long life, we also need in good health. We all want good health, both physical and mental. Now, how do we go about, creating the good health? Again, now refraining from the non-virtuous action, refraining from the harmful actions. And refraining from the harmful actions can be done only on this human birth. Animals cannot do keeping the vows. Animals cannot refrain from non-virtuous actions. Only the human being can do very well. And then, therefore, the perfection of morality, the perfection of ethics, it can be practiced by this human body, this human birth. And then, not only this, now, do we need a good health? Do we need the reliable friends? Do we need the trustworthy friends or untrustworthy friends? Which choose, right? Do we need a long-lasting good friend, a good company, right? Yes, everybody, we all need a very good friend, right? We all really need a good friend who is so kind, who is so reliable, who is so trustworthy. Now, in order to create, in order to have, in order to obtain, and in order to receive more good friends, who is trustworthy. Again, we need to create a cause. What is the cause? The cause is now the practice of patience, the practice of tolerance, right? So when we talk about the practice of tolerance, animals cannot do, right? Animals and other other beings, the hungry ghosts, they cannot do. The hell beings, they cannot do. Again, there are limitless number of human beings in other continent, the beings in the other continent, very difficult. Only then again, the human birth, and especially the human being of this Jambudeva continent, our continent can do, right? If you look, the reason why Buddha came to this our earth, not to other continent. Why? Because this world, our continent is sometimes called as karmic continent. Karmic continent. The beings of this world is, in many ways, is smart. Is quite smart. Is smart. I mean, when I talk about smart, I'm not talking about some, in the knowledge of other field, but to differentiate the real, the real happiness and the real pain for experience, to differentiate these two, what really is the right. When we come into problem, what really is the problem, what really is the source. We have the intelligence, we have the very smart wisdom to investigate. So therefore, viewing all these things, Buddha choose our planet, Buddha choose our continent to give the teaching of the people of this, the beings of this continent, because the beings are quite sharp intelligence. Right? In this way, the people here have really, smart, great wisdom. And so this is temporary purpose. Now, for example, say, we all want to achieve liberation, right? We want to achieve freedom. Everybody want to achieve. If we ask, if we are being asked, you want the happiness for short period of time or everlasting happiness? Everybody say, I want everlasting happiness. There's no doubt. There's no question, right? If you really want the everlasting happiness, then we talk about the total cessation, the freedom, the nirvana, right? Again, when we talk about achieving the nirvana, what is the main cause? Again, achieving to achieve the nirvana, we need to create the causes and conditions. The causes and conditions now, what we call as pratimoksha vow. Pratimoksha vow, observing the vow, guarding the vows, guarding the vows, what we call as individual vows, individual liberation vow. So when we talk about observing the individual liberation vow, again, animals can do? No way, animals cannot do, and then do we expect the celestial beings can do? No time for, no time for to observe all these vows, they have. So only the human beings can do in the very best way, right? So, and then we also, sometimes we take the bodhisattva vow, right? We wanted to achieve, we wanted to cultivate the bodhidharma, we wanted to achieve the altruistic mind. Again, we need to achieve the altruistic mind. We also need to, observe the bodhisattva vow. Again, the observation of the bodhisattva vow can be done only by human being on this planet. No other human being can easily do. No celestial beings can easily do, right? So in this respect, human being is the most ideal and the most conducive, human birth that can, achieve all these things. Again, when we talk about the achievement of enlightenment, as I said, achievement of enlightenment, especially the achievement of enlightenment in the shortest period of time can only be done by human being on this planet, and especially a human being who has all the freedom and all the favorable conditions. This human being can achieve all these things. No other, right? So in this way, temporary purpose, this human birth, a kind of human birth which is complete with 8 freedoms and 10 endowments, can achieve and fulfill the temporary purpose. And then also not only the temporary purpose, now the ultimate purpose. Ultimate purpose is, sometimes, we talk, now for example, we all create the condition to take a human birth again. I will talk this about later. It's extremely difficult. I will give the reason. This human birth that we have is extremely difficult to obtain. And I will talk later this one. It comes on the third title, right? And so achievement of the enlightenment, achievement of the liberation. All this can be done by this human birth, because we have all the freedom. We have the freedom which is free from the obstacles to practice fulfilling the temporary purpose and the ultimate purpose, right? And also we have all the favorable conditions. We are not lacking favorable conditions. We have each and everything. Now the real matter is whether we appreciate or not, whether we really put into practice or not. That is the story. Yeah, that is the different matter. Otherwise, I think, again we will discuss. We have each and everything. That's amazing. That's amazing. That's why this it's worth more than billions of the precious gems, wishful in granting jewel. Right. So in this, finally, when we think about all these things, it gives you a deep conviction, deep understanding that I have to practice dharma. I have no other choice. I have to practice dharma because I want happiness. I do not want suffering. If I do not want, if I want happiness and do not want suffering, the best choice, the best door, the best path, the best way is, study, contemplation, and meditation of the Dharma. Right. Okay, this is the first, right? Then we go to the second title, right? Second title. Now we do understand. We all do understand. We have all the we have all the freedom, total freedom. We have all the leisures, the freedom. We have, we are enjoying all the conditions. We are endowed with all the favorable conditions, conducive conditions, favorable conditions to accomplish, to fulfill the temporary and long-lasting purpose. Right. Now with this, if that really is the case, if I were to do the dharma, if I'm supposed to do the dharma, if I were to do the dharma, do I have the potential or not? Now this question comes. Do I really have the potential? Can I really practice the dharma? Right. So this question comes. Now we say, definitely yes, you can. So long as you have all the favorable conditions, you can practice dharma. The only thing is whether you do it or not, whether we do it or not. Otherwise, it's 100% sure that we can practice dharma. So sometimes I don't believe people, the dharma is difficult, I can't do. It's just an excuse. Yes, we can do dharma, right? So then, yeah, we have all the potentials to practice dharma, to study dharma, to reflect on the dharma, to fulfill all the temporary and ultimate purpose. Finally, and then if I have the potential, if I really have the potential, what are the potentials? What are the potentials which makes me conducive to practice dharma? Now, when we talk about the potentials, yes, you have the potentials, you have all the favorable conditions, we have external conditions, favorable conditions, and you have internal favorable conditions. Now, what are the external favorable conditions? The external favorable condition, okay. The external favorable condition is, number one, we have come to meet with Buddha's teaching, right? And not only that, we have come to meet with the Buddha's teaching, we have come to meet with such a purity of the teaching, which is the union of the Sutra and Tantra, which is extremely difficult to find, At least, we all come here, and I also come here, we all come here, at least we all have created a tremendous amount of merit. in the past life, without which we won't be here. It's 100% sure, 100% certain that we really have created a great deal of merit, that we all come together and to meet with the kind of the purity of the teaching. I'm not talking about just talking about the teaching, the purity of the purity of the teaching, which is the union of Sutra and Tantra. And not only this, we have met such a teaching which allows us, which even help us to achieve the shortest, achieve enlightenment in the shortest period of time. That is 3 years, 3 months, and 3 days. Right? Many of the ear whispered lineage, many of the masters from the old tradition, they achieved the enlightenment in 3 years, 3 months, and 3 days. So only the human birth can do. Right? Only those who have come to meet with the Buddha's teaching can achieve enlightenment in this, not only Buddha's teaching, especially kind of teaching, which is the union of Sutra and Tantra. So that the union of Sutra and Tantra, as we said, is extremely difficult. It is as difficult as star in the daytime. It is as difficult as if you throw the grain on the glass. It will not, these grains will not stuck on the glass. It will fall down. It is that much difficult. And not only this, obtaining the coming to meet with the purity of the teaching is as difficult as the blind turtle in the beneath in the depth of the ocean, try to get its neck, get inside the hole of the plank. That teaching is extremely difficult. It will not come easily out. I have no explanation. It is out of sheer luck that we at least come across with such a purity of the teaching, right? Out of, I mean, I don't want to say this, but if you look, if the population itself is out of 100%, one can say 1% can have come to meet with the purity of the Buddha's teaching. Out of 100%, that's difficult, right? Oh, I lost my so actually, I'm talking about the second, the second title, right? I'm talking about actually the second title. So then, now, we are, in the second title, we are just trying to identify, because, we already said, I have, we have the external condition, internal condition. We have complete with all these things. What are the external conditions? Because you have met with the Buddha, the purity of the Buddha's teaching. Not only that, in addition to meeting with the purity of the Buddha's teaching, you also have come to meet with such, reliable, spiritual guide, spiritual teacher. Please don't think that I'm referring, don't think that I'm not the one. Right. So, you have your own, the teacher, spiritual mentor, spiritual guide. So again, it's extremely difficult. When I talk about this, spiritual guide, of course, anybody cannot be a spiritual guide. Tsongkhapa says, anybody cannot be a spiritual guide. In order to be a spiritual guide, and he said the Mahayana spiritual guide should have 10 qualities to guide the student. I'm just explaining all these things. Don't mistake, So anyway, the Mahayana spiritual guide should have all the 10 qualities to guide the student. Not only that person, that person should be very skillful one. Skillful one in this respect. You have your spiritual guide, you have the spiritual teacher. Sometimes, if we are not meritorious enough, sometimes you meet come to meet with a spiritual guide, who show you the mistaken path, and then you will end up somewhere, nothing else. But in this, you have somebody you have need to come with a authentic spiritual guide, marginal spiritual guide. So you have all the external conditions, right? Even obtaining, coming to meet with the authentic, spiritual guide is extremely difficult, extremely difficult, extremely difficult. One need to really create a tremendous amount of merit again to do that, right? And then again, for example, if you come to meet with a Vajrayana teacher, Vajrayana guru, again, Vajrayana guru should have all the 10 qualities. If you in the action, the spiritual guru of the action, lower tantras should have 10 qualities. The spiritual guru of the highest yoga tantra should have 10 qualities. So if you come to meet with this, you are 100% very, very fortunate, unimaginably fortunate. These things very difficult to meet with. That shows, you need to create a real, tremendous amount of merit, unimaginable tremendous amount of merit, right? So you have all the external conditions. Now, what are the internal conditions, right? What are the internal conditions which makes conducive, which makes ideal to take the essence, to fulfill the temporary purpose and ultimate purpose, to complete all the spiritual practice. Right? The internal conditions. Now, the internal condition is we have 8 freedom and 10 leisures. 8 freedom and 10 leisures. Right? Now, when we talk about the 8 freedom and 8 leisure, sometimes, sometimes we talk, 8 leisures, right? 8 leisures, that's easy, not taking the birth in the hell, not taking the birth in a hungry ghost, as an animal, long life God. But if we do this in a way, it's all theory. It's all theory, and it's all kind of, it's not practical, because you don't feel anything to do with such a practice. Now, in order to really turn towards insight, now in order to to develop some kind of experience, some kind of feeling here, then we need to identify each of these. The first is not taking birth in hungry ghost, not taking birth in hell. Now, what it has to do with my practice, because it has to do. Now, yeah, we don't we don't point onwards, we point to ourselves. Am I taking birth in the hell realm or not? Am I taking birth in the hell realm? If I have taken the birth in the hell realm, what would be the situation? What would be the situation? For example, right? Somebody, we hold the charcoal, we hold the hot burning charcoal in our hand, and then do we expect to practice dharma? No. If we were taking the birth in the hell realm, we have no freedom. We should have no freedom to practice dharma. Why? Because we have no time to practice. Why do we have no time to practice? Because we have no time to practice because the much of the time, each moment of our time is consumed by the experience of hell suffering. There's no time. Right. So meditate. So this is analytical meditation. And then once you come to understand this, we really come to appreciate the preciousness of a human being, that I'm at least alive. I'm not a hell. I'm a human being. We rejoice. We develop a deep rejoice. We develop the deep sense of rejoice from our heart. That at least I don't have to go through all this, unimaginable pain and suffering of the hell. So this is very, very important, Actually, for example, like the great master, as like the great master Longde Lama. Longde Lama, maybe 16th or 17th century, one of them, really achieved high level of realization. So sometimes what he do is to feel the experience of the hell. Sometimes he use the incense, burning incense, and then touch on his, how to say, touch on his skin, this burning incense, to feel the experience of the hell. And then the great master, another great master, like Gele Gyaso, both of them are Lamrim lineage masters, well respected and highly realized yogis. In there, while they, practice, they do. And even the great master Gele Gyaso, he sometimes remain naked in the winter, the icy winter, to feel the experience of the cold hell. But although we don't need to do, definitely we don't need to go through all these things, but at least, we try to meditate, analytical meditate. They analyze these things, If I burn in the hell, what would be the situation? And then meditate, meditate on the suffering of the hell. And because of meditation, the suffering of the hell, it really urges you to, it really helps you to develop a sense of rejoice that I am a human being, at least. So this is a practice, what is called as analytical meditation. It gives you the practice, conviction. Then, so at least I'm not born in the hell. Then we call, I'm not born in a cold hell, hot hell. And then we think about, the second one is, now we consider, am I human being or am I born in a hungry ghost? If I were born in a hungry ghost, what would be the situation? Right. For example, if you do not eat for almost 5 days, just no eating, no drinking for 5 days, and then somebody expected us to do practice, how can we do practice? How do we go about practicing this? It's very difficult to practice, So at least, so with this thinking, that you really develop, again, appreciation of being a human being who is complete with freedom and enjoy freedom and all the favorable conditions, complete with all the favorable conditions, right? So if I born in the hell, yeah, then it's very difficult, let alone let alone practicing dharma, let alone hearing dharma, let alone practicing dharma, let alone contemplating on the dharma, hearing the dharma. They struggle for the hungry ghost, struggle for finding the food, not only for 1 day, 2 day, 1 week, for years and years, but they don't die easily because of karma. They don't die easily, go through easily, die because of karmic, power of the karma. Right. So with this, we come to appreciate, oh, I'm a human being, at least. We develop a sense of deep rejoice. Then animal same. If I were born as an animal, what would be the situation? The people will use it. People will, use all the, lot of these animals, and then animals by killing each other. And because of, let alone hearing the dharma, even because of this, the animals have usually we call stupidity in nature, right? They do not, cannot understand what is the dharma. Let alone practicing, even they have no idea what is Om Mani Padme Hum. Even the mantra, they have no idea. So at least I'm not an animal, So then with these, when sometimes when we, meditate on the suffering of the animal, it really gives the deep conviction that develop a deep, appreciation that I am a human being. I am a human being. Rejoice will come. So in this way, we also learn to develop the rejoice. So then, now say, right now, again, if I born as a God, sometimes we may think, the God are wonderful, are very, a lot of rich, If you are God, born as a God, what benefit? No benefit. You see, the god of the desire limb, the gods of the desire limb, their time mostly, they're distracted by the sensual pleasures. Mostly distracted by the sensual pleasures. They don't take any interest. I mean, there are some exceptions here, but most of the desire God, they have not interest. They are not, want to create more merit. And then, the gods of the, form realm. Again, they are intoxicated by their own, the mental bliss. And the gods of the form realm, they have no time to study, no time to reflect, no time to practice. And then they meditate, and then meditation, if best, if they do a good meditation, positive meditation, good. But then most of the time, the meditation which gives the inner bliss. So again, when this, when their karma is exhausted, again they go to lower level. Nothing, right? So the gods, even if we are born as a god, is nothing surprising, nothing amazing. At least I'm not a long life god. I have not taken a birth as a long life god. So I'm a human being. Again, you develop the rejoice, right? So these are the relating to the four, non-human. Now here, now for example, now I take the birth as a again human being. Okay, I may take the birth as a human being. Now human being. However, even if I take the birth as a human being, if I born in a remote areas means here those places where the Buddha has not where the Buddha has not come, or Buddha's teaching has not flourished. What happened if we are born in a darkness eon? There's not a single dharma is heard. To practice dharma, you need to hear the dharma. So if the Buddha's teaching not flourish, how to practice dharma? Very difficult, right? So at least we are not born in the remote areas. Now, even if we, right, now also we are not born as a barbarian. Barbarian means, we are not born as a barbarian means, we are ignorant, if we are born as someone ignorant of, the ignorant of to distinguish between virtue and non-virtue. We have no idea. Yeah. And then if we do not differentiate between what is right and wrong, there's no point of practicing karma, right? So we are not born as this, born as a barbarian, right? 4, 5, 6. Now, even now, not only this. Now, for example, we are born in suppose we are born in the places where Buddha Dharma has flourished. Okay, we are born in the community where Buddha Dharma has flourished. However, if we born as someone who holding the wrong view, perverted view, the denial of three jivas, the denial of the law of karma, there's no basis for practicing dharma, right? So there is hardly any basis for practicing dharma, because you are holding the wrong view, So that's again very difficult, And then not only this, and then if we, in these places, if we are also born as, now, if we are born as, some, even if we are born as human being, then if we are born in the places where with incomplete faculties. Incomplete faculties means now if we are dumb, if we are stupid, if we are the mental unstable. Again, in these three cases, we cannot practice dharma. Right? How can the insane person can supposed to practice dharma? Do not know what is right and wrong, right? And then if we are dumb, how can we hear the dharma? You are blind. How can we see the dharma? How can we read? So at least I'm not this. I'm not born as a blind. I'm not born as a mentally unstable. I'm not born as a that dumb. I have I can hear. My mind is stable. Here, You have all the favorable conditions now. Now you have all the favorable conditions. You have all the freedom to practice dharma, because you are freed from all these major obstacles to practice dharma. So how wonderful it is, how amazing it is that we have all the freedom, right? And then, so these are the 8 freedom. 8 freedom. Then the 10 endowments. What are the 10 endowments? The 10 endowments are, now the first is relating to you. You are a human being. The first is the endowment. That means you have the first favorable condition to practice dharma. The first favorable condition is that you are human being. We are human beings. Number 1. Number 2 is we are born in the central, I don't know, central area, usually, the second endowment is central area. Central area means, for example, in the case of Tibet, Tibet is the remote area in terms of place, because when we talk about the central area, Bodh Gaya is the central area. And then Tibet, in terms of, place, in terms of, region, in terms of place, is a remote area. But then, because Buddha Dharma has flourished, in Tibet, there are 1 male fully ordained, 1 female fully ordained, and then 1 layperson with a vow, male layperson with a vow, female layperson with a vow. If these 4, then it is said as central area. Okay, so we are born in a central area, right? Central region where the Dharma has flourished, where the Sangha community is there. And then the number 3 is having the complete sense. We have all the complete sense, sense organ. We have all the sense organ. Nothing is problem. There's no problem. And then, we have not done any crime, 5 heinous crime. Because if we commit 5 heinous crime, we are not to achieve the liberation, moksha, in this very life. So again, we are free from all these 5 heinous crime. 5 heinous crime, killing one's father, killing one's mother, killing the arhat, creating the schism creating the schism or disharmony in the Sangha community. And the last one is drawing the blood from the Buddha's body. So if we commit these 5 heinous crime, then one lack the favorable condition to practice dharma. We haven't done that. So here you go. And then having faith in the 3 trainings. Of course, we all have training. We all have respect, deep devotion, deep faith in the Buddha's teaching. 3 trainings, So we have no problem with this. Then that the sublime teaching is being taught. The 6th one is we are born in a place that the Buddha has visited. Of course, we are not born in the place, but at least, one follower of the Buddha continue to teach in that place. So, for example, in your place, in my place, in your place, there are still the teachers, who continue to teach, still teaching the Buddha's teaching, continue to teach the Buddha's doctrine, right? So number 7, that the sublime teaching is being taught. Now, the place where you are, the Dharma is taught. Dharma still continues. The practice of Dharma still continues. Dharma continue to talk. So you are born in that place. That the teaching remains. Now, not the place where you born. There's both that scriptural teaching and realization teaching. There's about teaching. The person continue to practice Dharma. So you are also born in that place, and that there is those who follows it. Now here you follow the Dharma, right? We also follow the Dharma teaching, right? And then you see some master, based on that master's example, you also try to practice, and based on that you develop cultivation, you develop the spiritual experience. So this you can also do, right? And then number 10 is that there is caring for others. When we are sick, when we have some the financial problem, or something, I mean, others can help. When you do undertake the retreat, other people will offer, the shelter accommodation. So you also have complete with all this. So in this way, we are endowed with 10. We are, endowed with 10 favorable conditions to practice dharma. So that means we have the full potential to practice dharma. Right. So that's it. So then that's how wonderful it is, right? Now the third title. So this is with this second title we finish. Now we think about all these things, what it has to do with us, what it has to do with us. Now with this we come to learn. We come by thinking, reflecting, by contemplating on these 8 freedom and 10 endowments or favorable conditions. You come to realize, we develop the conviction that I have the full potential to practice dharma. I have the potential. I have the strength. I have the power to practice dharma. So this kind of conviction should develop. This kind of deep understanding should develop. Right. Now the third title. We are going to third title. Now we say, yes, I have the power. I have the full favorable conditions. I'm free from all the obstacles for practicing dharma. I also have the full, potential to practice dharma, right, and to fulfill the temporary and ultimate purpose. Now, when should I do? If I have the full potential, right? I came to understand that I have to practice dharma. Not only that I have to practice dharma, I also have the full potential to practice dharma. Now, when you are going to practice it? Now, this is the question, third question. When are we going to practice this dharma? Do we need to wait for the next life? Right, now this question comes. Now this says, now you have to practice dharma in this very life, because the human birth that we have obtained is very hard to find. Once again, it will not find again. It will not find again easily. It will decay like the lightning in the cloud. It will disappear, come and disappear instantly, like like bursting the water bubble. One water bubble arises, disappear, another arises. It's all life is like this. Right? And then it's like the dewdrop, it's so fragile. When the sunlight hit the dewdrop burst. So therefore, don't wait until next life. We have to do the dharma in this very life. So right? So then the third is the rarity of the obtaining precious human birth. Don't waste it. Do it in this life. Now another question comes, right? If I have to do the dharma practice in this very life, right? If I have to do the dharma practice in this life, when should I do? Should I, should I wait until I'm ready? Because right now I'm pretty busy. Right now I'm very busy. I have a lot of things to do. Take care. Should I wait until I'm ready? Yes. Now, no. You don't have to wait until you are ready. You have to do it now, from now onwards. Because why you have to do it right now is because the life is unpredictable. So this is the solution. Right. So in this way, in these 3 titles, all the the teachings on the precious human birth is included. And if we really think very well on these 3 titles, finally, what happened? Finally, you develop a very strong urge. We develop a very strong urge, that strong urge and strong, a joyous effort that I have to do the dharma practice. I have to do the Dharma practice. And then because of this, because of this urge, we develop, we then we make the joyous effort. We do the joyous effort, and then the result is we actually practice it. We actually putting into practice as a result of thinking all this, reflecting and contemplating on all the points that we have discussed. Then the time is to put into the practice comes finally, right? So now it says, now you have everything, you have all the potential. We have external conditions, we have internal conditions, we have also we also have the potential to practice dharma. We also understand that I have to do in this life, not only in this life, but I also have to do it now. Still, with still understanding all this, still understanding all these things very well, very well. And if you don't if you don't act, then now the Shantideva was saying, now this is what is the meaning. If you meaninglessly squander this rebirth that you have managed to obtain, it would be even a greater pity than if you have wasted 1,000 billion precious jewels. There is no greater loss. Nothing could be blinder. No self-deception could be greater, Protector Shantideva said. No self-deception could be worse after gaining such a virtue, after gaining such a chance. Then not cultivating virtue, nothing could be blinder, nothing could be more stupid than this. So this is the meaning. Right? After having all this, understanding all these things, we also know I have the potential to practice Dharma. I have the full strength. I have all the, I'm free from all the, obstacles, all the favorable conditions. I have the deepest understanding. Still, if you don't put, then this is the waste of, one slide. So this is Shantideva, referring to.
Thank you so much, Ben, for a very thorough teaching on the preciousness of human birth. And I know we mentioned this topic, we probably mentioned it a lot, but if I may sum it up, because of this human birth, we have a lot of opportunities to practice Dharma. And the practice Dharma is really helping us to improve our life, right? Like you mentioned, because we practice having this human birth, we can practice generosity, we can practice the 6 paramitas, we can practice the 10 try to keep all the virtuous actions and not doing any non-virtuous actions. So all of this is meant and pointed out by Buddha himself as a way to help us achieve basically liberation in this lifetime while we're still alive. So if we're wasting our human birth and not practice Dharma, we will not find any of these happiness, health, or cause and conditions that improve our life, right? So that's something that everyone should basically keep in mind. And that's the reasons why it's so precious that we have to take advantage of it now. We have to take this opportunity now and not wait, right? And then one thing that made me think about what you said regarding, in other realms, when we're born, even a lot of us wanted to, when we pass away, we want to be born in a nirvana, or the God realms and all the other realms, but we don't think about being reborn in the human realm, right? That's just human nature. That's how we always been conditioned to think, to born in a higher realms. But in reality, if we really wanted to reach enlightenment, then we need to be born as a human and continue our Dharma practice until we reach enlightenment, because no other realms can give us that opportunities. Is that correct?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
I just wanted to summarize so that those of us that been listening, because this is a very important subject and it's worth mentioning, but also to put in perspective for people listening.
Yeah, that's very good. Yeah, I add one more thing. For example, right? Therefore, to practice dharma, this human birth, complete with 8 leisures, 8 freedoms, and 10 endowments, is the most ideal, most ideal, and the perfect condition. Because now there's one continent called unpleasant voice. There's one continent over there in this continent. Very difficult to achieve the liberation. In this continent, beings very difficult to achieve liberation. Because why this is very difficult? Because such a tremendous amount of wealth. They no need to worry about any wealth. Even their wealth can compare with the gods and goddesses. The wealth of the gods and goddesses. So plenty, abundant wealth. Because of this, that it destroyed your mind, destroyed their wisdom to differentiate. And not only that, they also do not have deep sense of renunciation, intensity of renunciation. Because why they do not have deep sense of renunciation is because there is no manifest suffering. Manifest suffering. Because usually here in this world, when the suffering arises, sometimes we develop the renunciation, right? We develop the sense of detachment from this, painful experience. That, oh, I have to do something, I have to get out of from this problem. So we use the wisdom. So in this continent, the beings, they cannot, they lack the intelligence to make such a decision. And not only this, and then we have the three other continents. Those beings who use the ox. Ox means the beings who depend on the dairy products of the ox. So this being, and then there's another continent whose continent, the beings in this continent whose body is 2 times higher than the beings of this world. So in both cases, the human beings in these 2 planets, again, they are not the perfect birth, because they lack the obstacle. They lack the favorable conditions to practice dharma, and also because of the lack of the wisdom to practice dharma. They do not have they lack the wisdom to practice dharma. Again, if you try to investigate why, because of abundant wealth, polluted, destroyed the power of their wisdom to practice dharma. So therefore, this human birth is the most ideal and unimaginable, perfect to practice dharma. You cannot imagine. Right? So this is what I think.
Thank you, Ben. We should wrap it up. Thank you.
Okay. Yeah. Then with this, we do the dedication prayer. Okay. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Okay.
Dạ, xin cảm ơn tất cả mọi người, nhưng mà xin mọi người nán lại và ban tổ chức có thêm một ít thông báo. Dạ, mọi người có thể cảm ơn thầy.
Thank you, teacher.
Okay, you're welcome.
Thank you,
Thank you.
teacher Sudela.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Rinpoche. Thank you, Van.
Okay, thank you.
Dạ, xin chào tất cả mọi người nữa. Một lần nữa Trang có một cái thông báo mà về cái lễ đăng quang của ngài Jordan. Có cái sự kiện này sẽ xảy ra vào cuối tháng 9. Cuối tháng 9 là ngày sẽ có 3 ngày làm lễ ở tu viện Sarajay ở bên Ấn Độ. Bắt đầu vào ngày 27 tháng 9 và 3 ngày lễ là đến ngày 30 tháng 9. Nhưng mà quý vị nào mà muốn tham dự thì có những cái điều cần phải làm. Cái thứ nhất là khi mà mua vé máy bay thì mình phải có mặt ở bên Ấn Độ vào ngày 25 tháng 9. 25 tháng 9 và rời đi vào ngày 30 tháng 9. Và nếu tham dự thì có một cái đơn cần phải điền khoảng 2 tháng trước khi ngày lễ bắt đầu. Tức là bây giờ mình đã đầu tháng 7 thì là mình chỉ còn khoảng trong vòng 20 mấy ngày nữa thôi để điền cái đơn này. Cái đơn này là tại vì mình đi vào tu viện Sarajay là một cái nơi mà của cộng đồng của người Tây Tạng lưu vong. Thành ra mình cần phải có cái giấy phép của cái ủy ban của người Tây Tạng lưu vong, họ cho phép mình thì mình mới vào được. Thành ra là nếu mà quý vị nào mà muốn tham gia cuộc lễ đăng quang này thì có thể thông báo cho ban tổ chức biết, rồi ban tổ chức sẽ gửi ra. Vấn đề ở đây là mọi người tự đi chứ không có một cái tổ chức chính thức nào. Tại vì sẽ rất là đông người, mà đạo tràng Madhura ở bên đây cũng không có, các anh các chị cũng bận việc, thành ra không có tham dự được. Thành ra là cũng xin thông báo cho mọi người biết. Nếu mà đạo hữu nào mà muốn tham gia thì cứ thông báo riêng cho ban tổ chức, rồi ban tổ chức có thể giúp đỡ được gì thì sẽ cố gắng, nhưng mà cũng xin cho biết trước là không có tham dự. Còn một cái điều thứ hai nữa là trong 3 cái ngày lễ của cái lễ đăng quang này thì mình sẽ có cơ hội để mà hùng phước cúng dường cho cái buổi lễ này. Thực sự là 3 cái buổi lễ là cái ngày đầu tiên là một cái lễ chung của nguyên cả tu viện, vừa Sarajay vừa Saramay, khoảng 5.000 tăng. Thì ngài Khen sẽ tổ chức để mà đãi các tăng buổi ăn sáng, rồi gửi cho các ngài tịnh tài, rồi tặng khăn kata. Rồi cái ngày thứ hai thì là làm lễ cho 3.000 vị tăng, 5.000 vị tăng. Xin lỗi, không nhớ rõ cái số tại vì phải xem lại cái thông tin mà thầy gửi. Nhưng mà cái ngày lễ thứ hai là cho những vị tăng chỉ ở trong tu viện Sarajay thôi, chứ không phải là cả hai tu viện Sarajay với Saramay hợp lại, là cái ngày lễ thứ hai. Rồi cái ngày lễ thứ ba, lễ đăng quang ngày thứ ba là cho cái học khu của ngài Jordan, là ở học khu đó thì là khoảng 300 vị. Thì là cái ngày lễ đó là lễ nguyên ngày, là từ sáng cho ăn sáng, uống trà, ăn trưa, ăn tối. Thành ra là mình sẽ có cơ hội để mà có thể hùng phước cúng dường chư tăng và tạo thêm công đức. Dạ, đây là cái dịp rất là thù thắng, thành ra là sẽ có thêm chi tiết cho mọi người. Và một lần nữa nếu mọi người muốn tham gia thì xin cho ban tổ chức biết. Dạ. Dạ, xin phép để cho nói tiếng Anh cho các bạn vào ở trên Zoom mà cần phải có tiếng Anh. Just want to make an announcement regarding the enthronement of Chodan Rinpoche, which will happen in September 27th through the 30th. But if you are interested in joining this ceremony, you need to arrive in India by the 25th of September and plan to leave by September 30th. Because this is a ceremony, a 3-day ceremony, where there will be celebrations at a combined Sarajay Sarame monks, which is about 5,000. And second day celebration is with Sarajay monks only. And the third day celebration is with the with Children Rinpoche school, Kensen, right? Kensen?
Yeah,
Kensen. So there will be opportunities for you to to create merits by making offerings to this enthronement ceremony. Offering could be in the form of food, monetary, could be in lunch, dinner. So we will be announcing that. But if you are interested in attending, just so you know that there is, because this is a reserve area for Tibetans only, so there's a form that needs to be filled out and turn in about 2 months prior to the date of arrival. So you have about 20 some days to get this form in. And if you're interested in attending, please let us know. Any of us in the organization know, and then we can get you additional information. This is not an event that will be organized by Mother Tara, so you're pretty much on your own if you're attending, because some of us here could not attend, and we would not want to make any arrangement for you when we're not there. All right, so thank you everyone. Xin cảm ơn tất cả mọi người. Xin chào mọi người, hẹn gặp tuần sau ạ. Yeah, thank you. Thanks everyone. We'll see you next week.